All right. So now that you are a Madrid resident, do you support Madrid for the El Clasico?
No, dude, I'm Barcelona. No,
Yeah,
Uh,
love
dude,
that.
I'm neutral on that. I don't even really care. I don't care about Madrid, Barcelona, but if I have to say it to the right person, maybe I can in Barcelona. If I'm there, then I'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm a Barcelona fan. No, I don't really care.
How crazy did the city get, or does the city get during El Clasico?
Well, just in general, and it's like football for America, right? Like like the bars. When you go to a bar and there's a game like a Clasico going on, like everyone is got their eyes glued on the screens. If there's a shot on goal, the whole place goes crazy, even if it's missed. It's just like, that's how it is with soccer out here. People
Do
love
you just hate soccer?
it. No, I don't hate it. I love basketball. So soccer is like an afterthought for me. But
Fair.
it's not like I hate it. When I was a kid, soccer actually, like, my first favorite sport was soccer when I was a kid. I mean, what kid didn't grow up in the U.S. playing soccer for a couple years?
I feel like that's like part of the simulation is if you're not an NPC, you played like AYSO or just some level of rec league soccer at some point in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of kids who grew up just like randomly playing soccer, and it was some random dad who was the coach who had like he played soccer till he was 10. Like he had no clue about anything, and he's trying to teach you some drills, and he's like, "Dude, no one's got any clue what we're doing out here." But you got the cool
Lit-
water jug. You get like the orange slices at halftime, the Capri Sun, and the snack after the game. That
you
was
don't sleep on the orange slices. Honestly, I haven't had fresh oranges regularly since my childhood, and I think that's why I'm not as happy as I was as a kid. I'm gonna tell my
yeah,
girlfriend I want fresh orange slices every day now.
dude. You gotta get on that. I get dude. There's some good fruit shops out here, and they got good meat out here too. But I get like a clementine or an orange. I'm eating like one a day all the time.
What's something in Spain that you've come across, and everyone who studied abroad in Barcelona is gonna just like make fun of me because I didn't. I studied abroad in Australia, you fuckers, so I didn't have the Spanish experience. What's something in the grocery store that everyone buys that you had no idea what this was? You finally caved and bought it, and now you're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Oh man, I don't. Out here what they love is the Binter chocolates. Which
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of those before. They're like the Kinder chocolates.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The chocolates, and they'll have like a Kinder Surprise in it. It's kind of European. It's more than just Spain, but it's a lot of Europe that they'll have those little chocolates. I don't really get it a ton, because I'm trying to stay in shape, trying to stay ready for the season at all times. But every once in a while, you got to splurge.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of Late Night Bitcoin. This time, early morning edition. I'm your host Q, and I'm joined by my good friend, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the missing child that we have now found living in Madrid. Sorry to dox you, Mr. Sean Harris, who will dunk on your girl. How you doing, Sean?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great. Great intro right there. By the way, that's a nice intro.
You should just rip that, and anytime you go on a podcast, just feel free to use that intro when being introduced.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take everything you just said, and like, hey, I need this intro every time. He'll dunk on your girl. He'll dunk on you and
um,
then steal your girl. How about that?
oh, I like, see, Mr. Steal Your Girl. All right. I see you.
No, 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 dude. I can't. I don't get mixed up in that type of stuff.
I was going to say something really mean and I stopped myself.
Oh, what?
I
This
was gonna
is
say
late night
that's the
Bitcoin. Is
reason.
this not late night Bitcoin? Come on.
I mean, look, you want me to say it, just don't hate me. But I guess that's the reason you don't play in the NBA is because you won't steal a girl.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it.
Sorry, that was mean. That was mean. I love you,
It's,
Sean.
hey, you know what?
I,
Not everyone can make it to the NBA, and I'm okay with that. You know,
I was
you gotta
thinking of you.
accept you gotta accept who you are. All right, like that's a big thing. I'm not an NBA player.
And let's be perfectly clear and frank. Most people aren't even good enough to play professionally in any country, let alone go in Europe and make a living out of this. So I tease, but I'm also truly impressed and humbled to get to talk to you, my friend. Um, I thought about you when I saw the video of the Utah State cheerleader crying during
Oh yeah.
the NCAA tourney. Did you have them going all the way?
I mean, not all the way, but I thought we had a chance. I thought we had a really good season this year, and I thought we had a chance to at least get past the first round, maybe the Sweet 16. You know, I mean, San Diego State, they're also in the Mountain West Conference with Utah State. They're in the Final Four, so like that's you never know what can
So you're
happen
just
if you get
you
hot. If
guys,
you get hot in March, you never know.
dude, Kemba Walker, man, that's a perfect example. Dude just went smoking in March from his conference journey. But um, any fun surprises from this tournament before we flip the script and stop talking sports ball for a while?
I mean, what's it called? FAU, right? They've been doing really good. It like the whole surprise has been that they've all been surprises. I think is I don't know how anyone could have predicted this Final Four, but that's it's just going to show that it's not even about like who's the best recruited out of high school anymore. Like, okay, who's putting in the work once they get to college? There's a lot of teamwork that goes into it. Basketball is a team sport, so it's always fun when you get to see teams that put in hard work and guys that are getting rewarded for it.
So I want to flip it over now to Bitcoin since this is late night Bitcoin. I will ask you the same question I ask everyone who joins me on this show,
Mm-hmm.
which is when was the first time you heard about Bitcoin and what was your initial response or reaction?
So I don't even know if this is even true. I think it's true. I think it's true. I
You come
remember
on my show and you just start throwing out lies.
lies. Yeah, just throw out lies. So if we want to talk about the first time I ever heard about Bitcoin, I think it was in 2015. And this is why I say I don't really know if this is for sure or not. But I remember that I had a buddy who I played in high school with, and he came to one of my games. We were playing at San Jose State. I'm from Sacramento, and he was working in the Bay Area, and so we were playing at San Jose State. And we were talking after, and I think and there was another buddy there, and he mentioned, and like he just said something about, oh, sell it for some Bitcoin, right? And I did not know what that was, right? I was like, I don't even know what he's, I get, like when sometimes people will talk about something and they make a joke and you have no idea what they're talking about, and you just give them like a courtesy laugh. That's exactly what I did. I just courtesy laughed and then kept going on. And then I didn't hear about it again for another 2 years. In 2017, I was in Portugal, and one of my teammates out there was talking about Bitcoin, but he had no idea what it was. And then we watched this movie about some kid who was like selling things for Bitcoin, and then I was like, I have no clue what this is, and no one can answer me on it. So then I just started listening to podcasts and reading, and then I went down like this whole financial rabbit hole for 2 years, and then I finally, I had no idea what was going on. There was like the big ICO craze going on in 2017, and there's like a new coin after new coin coming out, and I didn't know what was going on, and then finally I started to get orange pilled in like 2019, and that's when I started buying Bitcoin. So it took me like 4 years since I heard it the first time, and then 2 years. Like, I didn't buy right away. It took me a long time to gain conviction and to really understand, like, oh, this is actually real. Like, this isn't fake money. This isn't some random thing. Like, this is real, and this is here to stay. And it's better than the dollar and any fiat money that we have. So it took me a while to figure all that out.
Let's go. Let's join a young Sean Harris, which for our audience, I'm trying to see how to share my screen real quick. Yep, there we go. All right. Okay. But we're going to join a young. All right. We're not going to be able to share, but
No shit. Oh, there we go. There we go. I see.
You see the wrong things. All right. I want to. All right. Now you see the right things. We're going to join a young Sean Harris.
Oh yeah.
So the gentleman in the tie, for those not paying attention, honestly, as you can see, I found out some lovely pictures of you from early on. But so young Sean Harris trying to make it as a young basketball recruit.
Yeah.
Scoffs at Bitcoin. You've left Utah State. You're in Portugal now. You watch these videos. You hear about ICOs. Let me ask you this: did you buy a shitcoin? Are you a dirty little shitcoiner in the closet?
So I didn't buy anything until 2019, and that's when I bought two shitcoins. I bought Ethereum and I bought XRP. So I was like almost orange pilled, but like the shitcoin marketing got me so good, right? Because they were like, XRP is gonna be the next thing, you know. You got like it's going. I don't even know. They were like the $500 or like $589 or something like that, you know. And they're like Ethereum, you gotta. It's there's like they have the best buzzwords, they have the best marketing, and you just fall for it because it's this coordinated marketing scheme that they have. You know, the VCs kind of work hand in hand with these shitcoin influencers and the founders. They're all working together to pump these coins and then dump them on retail. So I did buy two of them, and then in 2020, shortly after, like I bought some, and then it was like, boom, I'm not buying anymore. I'm just buying Bitcoin, and I just held on to them, and then finally I sold them because I was like, these are just, I just had to get rid of them. I just didn't even want them. And the funny thing is, like, I still made money, whatever. That's the thing is, when we talk about money, I made dollars on those shit coins on XRP and Ethereum because I bought them in like 2019, and then the bull market started to show up. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna make some money on them. But that like, just because I made dollars on them, it's not a reason for me to keep holding on to them, because they don't have anything that really, there's nothing real about those things like there's about Bitcoin.
I want to start first on the marketing side, and then let's go into the idea of just the money in general.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get caught up in the next big catchphrase or the next slogan. And to your point, like, some of these shitcoins have the most incredible marketing campaigns ever.
Yes.
And if you don't know anything about this space, and you hear the phrase, like, my favorite one to pick on is just DeFi.
Yeah.
The idea of decentralized finance. And I've reached a point where I actually understand why they make that claim, because it's not decentralized in the sense that, like, oh, there's no entity, no individual, no CEO, no business corporation running the show. That's not what they mean by decentralized.
Okay.
They mean decentralized from the centralized banking system that we have today right now. So from that merit, it's valid. But then when you introduce Bitcoin, it's like you're not decentralized.
So they're just saying it's an alternative to that's why it's decentralized, because it's an alternative.
But like, people fall for it. Like people genuinely are, oh yeah, no, like I need to invest more in like the DeFi space. It's like, do you even know what you're saying? That you understand that like what is give me from your childhood one of the Nike or Gatorade or whatever sort of marketing campaigns that you remember, like the Just Do It campaign for Nike.
Yes.
That's literally what DeFi is. DeFi is literally the equivalent of Just Do It, just for the shitcoin space.
Oh yeah. It's, I mean, and that's the thing, is that's why it's really hard for people who are just starting out. When you hear about Bitcoin and then you go on YouTube and it's just like crypto after crypto podcast, or or you go on like your podcast app too, it's the same thing. And so that's why I think it's super important that we get more and more Bitcoin only podcasts, YouTube shows. Like, we should have hundreds of these Bitcoin only podcasts and YouTube shows. I don't understand why Bankless, like an Ethereum podcast, shitcoin podcast, like, how are they getting hundreds of thousands of views every show? And like, and then what are they talking about? The only thing they can talk about is price. Like, there's nothing else that they're talking about besides price. And so I think that's, in my mind, when you're so focused, you're hyper focused on price, then you are fiat, because the only thing you care about is the fiat in nature. Like, they're called Bankless. That podcast, for example, is called Bankless, but their whole hope is to become integrated into banks. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen before. And when you figure out these lies, then everything just becomes so much clearer. But then again, I guess sometimes people just paint us as these mean maxis who are closed-minded to let people create and build. But it's also important to call things out and to speak truth.
Are you mad that you get bullied for being a bully? Is that what's going on here, Sean? Your memes are hurtful, bro.
Yeah. Good. I'm gonna make them more hurtful. I'm gonna push harder.
Good.
Yeah.
We need more. We need more memes. Let's talk money. And I'm very open about my past, both, yes, I dabbled in a couple shit coins as well. Yes, I bought Bitcoin originally with the eye of like, oh, I'll sell my Bitcoin for
what shit coins did you fall for? What ones did you fall for, Q?
So Ethereum for sure. I have a funny story about how I was about to buy like my first ever pair of like $250 Jordans, and then I was like, do I really need to spend $250 on shoes? And then I literally went and spent $250 on Ethereum instead. So like, it was like, oh, I was buying shit either way.
Yes.
And then I totally got roped in and fell for the SafeMoon scam.
Oh, really? SafeMoon. That's a newer one.
So I will caveat it though by saying the friend who really convinced me was the same friend.
Portnoy?
No, when I met Portnoy, I told him, I was like, dude, I thought we were about to pump. I thought I was about to be a millionaire, man. Like I thought the Portnoy army.
It's in the name. You're gonna get safely to the moon.
Alas, but honestly, and I could walk you through the psychology of why I was more easily convinced about that than something like Dogecoin, for example. And it was genuinely because the friend who convinced me about SafeMoon, about 6 months earlier, I had spent New Year's Eve. So this was New Year's 2020 to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I'd spent New Year's Eve with him, and him and his brother were going on and on and on about Doge. And Doge was less than a penny then. And they were like, bro, just like, here, I'll help you set up your Robinhood account, and like you get the free money from Robinhood, and you'll get the referral money from me, and like just deposit $100 that you just got from Biden, and like just throw it on Doge, and like you're not gonna regret it. And honestly, I say what you fucking want, but like a quick 20x in 3 weeks, like I could use that, buddy. I could use that money, put it to good use.
Yeah.
So that memory was so fresh in my mind, and it was the same friend that I was like, I'll throw $50 at Safe Moon, like I
Oh, yeah.
can blow $50 kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I watched it double, and then I watched it go to zero. Like that was a real thing that happened.
That's healthy though. That's good for you. Like those type of things are really good. And I think when you look at fiat or you look at crypto, in my mind, crypto is just an extension of fiat and the fiat mindset. Because all it is right, like today in today's world, if you think about what we have with fiat, it's like everything is fake, nothing is based on anything real. Like the money that they print is fake money. It's not real. And this is when we were talking a little bit before the show, like I've been thinking about this a lot, is how is money, like how do you create money, or how do you create value, and like what does money actually solve for? And because if you think about, okay, if I had a treasure chest of money and gold, whatever you wanted on some big island, and you were alone, and then there's another treasure chest and it was full of food and first aid supplies and all these other resources that you need to build, like which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the one full of gold and money, or are you going to choose the one with food and resources and supplies? You're going to choose the one that's going to help you live and survive, which is the food and the resources and supplies. So it's like, so what's the purpose of money in the first place? It's like, well, the purpose is when we live in a society full of people, like if I have an apple orchard and you have chickens, like, and I need eggs, well, hopefully when I come to you, you need apples, right? And if you don't need apples, then I'm screwed. I can't get eggs. What do I do? And so that's what money facilitates, is it just facilitates trade of things. But then at the same vein, what happens when I produce more than I can consume, right? I've produced more apples than I can trade, or I've traded more, and I don't need anything else. Like today, I'm good. Well, then I can store my production in my money now, and I can save that for another day. And I think, that's to me is how value is created, is when I produce more than I consume, because now I've produced more and I haven't consumed that energy and that time that I've spent producing. And so I think that's something that, when you talk about, okay, well, how is money or value created? It's when I produce more than I consume. And we've got it distorted in today's world, is when we have the central bank that they think that they can create money by pressing a button. And it's not creating money, it's actually stealing money. Because if I have 100, this is, I know I'm going on this little rant right now, but this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Like if I have 1/100th of the supply, like think about it in a fraction. I have 1/100th of the money that's out there. Well, if the Fed comes along and doubles that supply, well, now I have 1/200th of the money that's out there. So I go from having 1% to having 0.5%. So when money, so this is what is really hard for people to understand. They steal from us by adding money into the supply. And I think that's really hard for people to understand, is we're getting stolen from while they're printing money. And that's what inflation is it's theft by adding more money into the supply, but then siphoning it to themselves. And we don't get that supply of money. So when you think about, okay, like all these shit coins, we're like, we've lived in this time where we have so much fiat mindset, where now we've been pushed down this line of, okay, I have to flip something real quick. I got to win the lottery. I have to, pump some shit coin to make money, and if I don't do that, then I'm never going to make it, and I'm not going to get rich. And I think that's the world that we're living in, is a world with fake money. And then everything else is fake along with it. Like you got fake boobs, you got fake lips, you got, fake physics in Ethereum, fake art and NFT. You got fake everything out there. And Bitcoin's this resurgence of something that's real, of real money that can't be faked through proof of work. And I think that's like how Bitcoin can help solve a lot of these issues that we're seeing today.
That was a beautiful rant. I see that you'd been working on that in front of your mirror for a couple of weeks. So well done. I want to commend you.
Yeah. I practiced that one over and over again. No, this is really something I've been thinking about a lot though, because I just always think, why are people so susceptible to buying these shit coins, and why can't we figure out how to talk to people on a good level about what money is? But it's just all this programming.
So I had an interesting thought while you were talking, especially about the idea of like, oh, like I have to buy this shit coin to pump my bags to make enough money to survive. Um, if you literally just replaced shitcoin with stock,
Yes.
bond, like anything that is like socially acceptable as of 2023 to the broad masses, like we have, to your point, been conditioned and trained to think like, oh no, like I can't just throw money in the bank, like I gotta invest in the stock market. And then when you break down the dynamics of the stock market, like math nerd in me, it's just a casino. It's literally designed like a fucking craps table. And most people don't know how to play craps, which is why you don't realize that. But they have fully conditioned us to think the only way for you to make enough value to survive over the long run when you want to stop contributing your work to the world is by gambling the value you're making right now. Like it's insane to me, genuinely.
But you're forced to, right? Think about, because if you leave your money in the dollar, you're going to lose because of inflation, right? And I think that's what people don't realize either. It's like there's two things you can do. You can keep your money and your wealth in the dollar while it goes through inflation, and so you're losing purchasing power over time. Like the buying power that you have goes down every year. Or you can start investing it. But and this is the dumb thing. Okay, I invest my money because I have to, because if I don't, I lose purchasing power. But then when I invest it into a stock and then I sell that stock after it's made gains, now I have to pay taxes on the gains that I've made, but I was forced to push into something to make gains on my wealth because there was no other way around it, or else I lose my wealth. So either way, you lose to the government through either inflation or through taxes. Like they have us either way because the money's inflationary.
So I want to run my campaign platform off of you for a sec, because as a former resident of California, and I am a current resident of California, I intend to.
Wait, what did you just say?
You're a former resident of California.
I'm a former. I thought you said
and I'm
you
a
were a
current
former
resident.
and current. I was like, how are you a former and current?
No, you're the former. I'm the current.
Yes.
I have quietly and subtly been expressing my interest for running for the governor of California. And my genuine platform is going to be California should just be a sovereign nation. And the amount of money I believe that Californians would save by not paying federal income taxes and leaving the California tax bracket, which is insane. I don't deny that. It's like, it is insanely high.
Yes.
But then if I actually I don't change the California tax brackets at all, and then I just say like, we're done. Like we fund about 12 states that call us crazy. Guess what? Figure out how to get that money from somewhere else. We're going to use that money actually on our own state. I'd actually use the taxes collected on all these quote unquote infrastructure taxes, like our excess taxes on electricity, natural gas, just gas at the gas station, which I had to explain to my little brother why the price of oil can go down, but the price of the gas pump is going up simply because we voted for these taxes.
Yep.
So that is my platform. What are your thoughts? Will I be voted out like a crazy conspiracy theorist, or will the MAGA Americans, MAGA Californians in particular, vote you in?
Dude, here's what I'll say is that in California gets a bad rap from the rest of the United States. But if you want to talk about like economies and how much they produce, like California actually produces a ton. At the same time, California's also in a ton of debt. So so there are, you know, like some of the hate that California gets is well merited, but should California separate itself from the rest of the United States? I don't know. That might be happening soon anyway. We might see like the balkanization of the United States coming up anyway. So you might win off of that. You know, you might win. You wouldn't be the governor of California. You would be the president of California.
I don't want people to realize that.
Yeah.
I think if people realize that, then they won't like the plan. But if I tell them, like, I'm running to be the governor,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm gonna do, they're not going to put two and two together, and then I can become the first president of California. It'll be great.
Yeah. What about just becoming like an autonomous state, right? Where it's still linked to the United States, but it's like financially autonomous, so you can like it's
So
not
like Puerto Rico?
something like that. Yeah.
I don't think you can go back. Like, I think the U.S. would kind of be like, no, we want your tax dollars too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Puerto Ricans don't pay federal taxes, but they also don't participate in federal elections.
Yeah.
Which is like, fine. Tell you what, I would allow that if the federal government said, like, fine, but California has no say in the federal elections. Like, okay, we don't have to pay federal income taxes. Done. Deal. Signed, sealed, delivered. You mean I don't have to participate with the crazies in DC? Yeah, go.
Yeah, but
Go.
here's the thing is like think about how many electoral votes for Democrats that California gets every single year. Like Democrats would not like that at all. Because that's just a big loss for whatever. I don't know, dude. I don't even vote anyway because it's in my mind it's just dumb. But there would be Democrats Republicans would love it and Democrats would hate it.
Okay. I could see that. Like, yeah, I so the first presidential election I ever voted in was 2016, and my mom was really mad I didn't vote in 2012, and I was in DC nonetheless. And I made the comment because I voted for Obama, or at least supported him. I didn't vote, obviously, but I told my mom, I was like, listen, if Obama loses, specifically if he loses California, I will go to the White House. I will knock on the door and ask to speak to him personally and personally apologize for not voting for him via the state of California. But then also just be like, bro, that was a gimme. How'd you fuck that up?
Yeah. He's not gonna mess up. Yeah, California is gonna vote Democratic no matter what. Like that's a given. Except when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor. For some reason,
Dude, we trusted Arnold, man.
Yeah.
California loves its celebrities.
He came from Hollywood. Yeah, exactly. You had Gray Davis was the governor before, so
Didn't he do something like really fucked up? And it was like a whole special election too, because it wasn't.
Honestly, I don't even really remember. This is what I remember because I was in California at the time. What I remember was he got recalled, which is like being impeached for a governor, and Arnold Schwarzenegger has a movie called Total Recall. And so the day that Arnold got elected, that same day on TV in California, at least where I was in Sacramento, his movie was playing. Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger was on TV, and I just was like, this is insane. Like, this is not by accident right now. So I thought it was pretty
funny. Are you like, being a U.S. citizen who lives abroad, do you sometimes see the news of what goes on here and just laugh and say, like, here as in first just broader US and then second California in particular, do you sit there and you just laugh like, oh, thank God I'm not dealing with that shit?
I mean, dude, the thing is, United States like sets the way for a lot of the world. So I think like honestly what I've seen is the world has become, because of social media, cultures are combining, and so like a lot of these ideas that people like, the louder ideas, even how false and wrong they are, they just keep getting pushed on and pushed on, like climate change stuff, you know? And, regardless of what you think about climate change, like the idea that we need to spend less energy, in my opinion, is like you can't spend less energy and think that you're going to progress as humanity. Like we've always had to harness more energy, and that's what's made us progress, as humans. And so I think, like, using these type of things, but people will continue to use these type of tropes, and it's like you get them here in Europe too, right? Like people say a lot of the same things without thinking about them. You kind of just get force fed this like green future, these other type of things, and then if you hear it enough, you just go, okay, yeah, like that's true, like that's better, without even thinking about why it is true or if it is true or not. And I think that happens. It may start in the United States, but it's definitely shown here too in Europe. Maybe in Latin America it's not the same way, because honestly, I think a lot of the problems that the United States and Europe faces are like first world problems, where it's like, okay, I got everything figured out. Now I need to have an issue. I need to have a problem that I can complain about. And so we just make up these big issues out of nothing. And then, while you're like, if you were like in Africa or Latin America, you wouldn't even be thinking about those things.
Totally. Oh man, we have the level of privilege to discuss the problems we get to discuss.
Like what is a woman? Like this, like what is a woman is literally this thing that like people are making documentary, like Matt Walsh is making a documentary about it, like it's insane that we can't define what a woman is. It's gotten this far that we just say like, oh, anything goes. There's no truth and there's no lie at this point. And at some point there has to be some objective truth somewhere.
I don't disagree. I think that we've lost the plot somewhere along the way. I'm trying to hedge a little bit, and I know that the audience doesn't care for that, but I don't want to be the echo chamber. Exactly. So
yeah.
I'm gonna strongman this and I dare Bitcoin Twitter to cancel me. I dare you guys. We'll get into the cancel culture of Bitcoin in a second, but for right now, because you brought it up, like there are kids waking up today who don't know where their next meal is coming from in this country.
Yeah.
And you're worried about whether or not people use or approach you with the right pronouns. If you don't think that that is a privilege, I'm just going to challenge you and say, like, you're actually the problem, not the solution. But I digress, because I don't think anyone listening to this is going to receive that message and think like, oh, wow, I should probably stop telling people to use my pronouns. Like, I really don't think anyone listening to this uses pronouns.
You know what? That's fine, right? Like, if someone wants me to call, like, whatever, we can skip to the next thing. It doesn't even matter. But
we do whatever the fuck we want. It's late night Bitcoin, bro.
It is late night Bitcoin.
I want to go back to the money conversation though for a second.
Yeah.
One of the things that I actually probably haven't discussed this too often, but I do think there's also stages of being a Bitcoiner. And I think the first stage is the skeptic, the blow it off. Like, what is this? Maybe you read something and then you're kind of like, okay, whatever. And then the second stage is when you make your first purchase. And I think there are two types. There's the type who wants the censorship resistant money. They want to be able to spend their money how they want without other people knowing, collecting that information, that data on them. Then there's the other class, and I think this is where I come in, where being an investor-minded person, I originally bought my Bitcoin with the idea of like, oh, I'll buy it at this price, and then when I make money or a profit off
Yeah.
of this, I will go and sell it for dollars, and I'll be good. And then you have to go down that rabbit hole. You have to your point of what you helped our audience do here is like understand and explain what is money and really define that. And that journey, I think, helps people like me at least, step away from, oh, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin and I'll be rich. It's like, oh no, I'm rich because I have Bitcoin. So talk me through a little bit. Like, were you, of the two different types of people that I described, the censorship resistant money or the investment types, like which, when you made your first Bitcoin purchase, where did you sort of fall?
Well, I mean, so when I started learning about Bitcoin, I also started learning about money, and like finances and financial literacy. I started going down like reading a bunch of books like The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad Poor Dad, all those type of books. And one thing that they would talk about, at least that I started hearing about, was okay, if you have an investment, you also need to figure out like, do you have an exit strategy with that investment too, right? Like if you buy a real estate, would you have an exit strategy if you need to sell it, or like, what's your plan in 5 years or 10 years from now? And so I think that's probably how I came into Bitcoin, was like, oh, this is gonna pump. It's a scarce thing. It's gonna pump. There's only 21 million, and then I'll figure out like how to get out. But then like as I continue to go down the rabbit hole, obviously things started to change for me as I realized like, oh, fiat currencies have died. Every current fiat currency that's ever existed in the world has failed. And not only that, but the fiat currencies that currently exist have all been devalued like 99% since they were first created, because of the printing of money. And you can get devalued another 99% once you get devalued 99%. I think like that's, when you look at the dollar, I know people that are millennials. They have grandparents. Their grandpa bought his house for $7,000, and it's worth $1 million now. And you go, okay, well, that doesn't sound like the dollar is strong to me. Like, it sounds like the dollar is extremely weak. you know like the dollar is not strong. And and so and it's just fiat currency. So I guess to answer your question, like, I started out with like the hypothesis that, I wasn't like a privacy. I mean, obviously, like, I have my name doxed and everything. I didn't come into Bitcoin with this privacy mindset. I do have more of a privacy mindset now. And what I really do love about Bitcoin is that it is a part. It's like, it's not a part of the system. It's something that's different than the current monetary system, and that it can't. Not only can it not be debased, but that it can't be stolen from me. And learning your history of finance is also important. Like, learning how in Argentina, the banks stole the money of the people, or how in Cyprus they had a bail-in, and the government stole the money of the people in Cyprus. So learning those type of things, and then seeing in Canada how the banks froze and stole the money of their own citizens. And I think people say, oh, it can't happen here, wherever here is, whether that's in United States or it's in Europe. Like, dude, when your currency starts to inflate or hyperinflate, and you're on whatever side that you're on, and that side may be right today, but it's wrong tomorrow, well, then your government will seize your funds and will freeze your funds, and all the work that you've put in your whole life is gone. And that's what Bitcoin protects from.
I would even take that last point a step further and just say, if Canada has the capability of doing that to money
Yeah.
and you don't think America can,
Yes.
I got a bridge to sell you.
I mean, even look at, I
uh,
mean, that's what happened in Russia, right? I think that's, in my mind, that's why, like, you see Russia and the Saudis are starting, or they want to do deals in Chinese yuan, because the United States cut off Russia to the US dollar, to the SWIFT system. And so I think, here's the whole thing is like, well, why are they going to trust China with just because they're allies today? Like, that's why in my mind, Bitcoin as a neutral money, like gold was, but Bitcoin is gold on steroids. And I think as a neutral money, that's why it's going to be the next world reserve asset, because there's going to be no one country that can prove to the rest of the world, you can trust us. And because there won't be a country like that, I think that's why the world will decide on a neutral money.
I agree with that. I mean, I'd also even, throw out and highlight most recently, like Russia and Iran earlier this year were making a deal to create their own joint currency to settle their trades. Then most recently, we've been hearing the news that China helped broker the deal between Iran and Saudi. And just as a reminder, in case you've been living under Iraq or anyone else, Iran has been under strict government sanctions since, like, sure, you can say that the nuclear deal during the Obama years was helping to lift those, but they still had sanctions, and they have pretty much since Clinton was in office. So
Dude,
to your point,
I got offered to play in Iran this year, actually.
bro. Oh my God, that would be so dope.
And I was gonna go. I have a brother who works in the government for the United States, and then he was like, "You can't go." I was like, "What?" I had no idea what his job was. I still don't even really know what he does. So who knows? He's a spook. He's a U.S. government spook.
I wonder. That only makes me think that all the protests have been a psyop ploy in Iran. And honestly, as they've dragged on a little bit more, I've started to find the holes, and I'm like, God damn it, not again!
Oh, really? I haven't heard about this. I haven't heard about this theory that
like, I will caveat all of this by saying I do not. Oh, fuck, I can't say it.
All right, we don't.
Well, I want to phrase it a certain way. I love talking about Iran, so I could talk about it for years, honestly.
Dude, Iran looked like. So are you from Iran? Are your parents from Iran?
Yeah, I was born in America, but both of my parents are from Iran. Like, I went a bunch when I was a kid. I haven't been back in a long time.
I was looking forward to going. Honestly, I was really looking forward to going because I've heard really good things about it.
If I hadn't torn my Achilles and I hadn't, or all of these sort of protests hadn't been going on, because I was in Qatar for the World Cup, I was originally going to go spend like a couple weeks in Iran for like the first time in like almost 18 years.
Do you speak Farsi?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read Farsi? That's the thing, is like speaking and reading are totally different.
I can't read or write. However, my girlfriend's been learning, and the really funny thing is, like,
wait, is she from Iran too?
Oh no, she's like a blonde white girl from Texas.
Oh yeah, I think I met her at Pacific Bitcoin.
Yeah. No, she's been like taking Farsi lessons to learn, and I don't know what language did you take in high school? Spanish.
Spanish, yeah. I speak Spanish fluently.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, like, how like when you were taking the classes though, like we learned like the proper conjugations, different like tenses of the verbs and stuff.
And then no one speaks that way.
No. And here's the funny thing too is like my girlfriend's being taught that exact way, and she'll be like, what's the past present of this? I was like, what are you trying to say? And I'll just say it. And it's like it's starting to click in my head as she says certain things. I'm like, oh, I guess I just like know these conjugations, and I just talk. And sometimes I use the wrong one, sure, but for the most part, like, people know what I'm saying.
And that's the thing. Yeah, when you learn a language, when you have to learn it as an adult, you don't learn it from your parents. Then you have to break down grammar, or else it becomes extremely hard. Like, if you try to piece it together like a little kid does, little kids they're like little sponges. They can just pick up everything. It's crazy, dude. It is insane how we learn how to speak, because once you hit a certain age, then you have to break down the grammar and figure it all out. And like, oh, okay, I get that now.
Yeah. Um, but on the topic of Iran, and then we can go back to Bitcoin. Like Iran is the perfect case study for Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I think I've been learning a lot about Iranian history and more specifically like Iran US political relationships and histories for the last like 300 years. Very interesting dynamic. But
The original Silk Road went through Iran.
of course.
Not
Dude,
like that, not the what's his name, who's
Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah, like the real Silk Road went through
Right.
Iran. Yeah.
I mean, dude, the Persian Empire is like, here's an interesting tidbit for you. Here's your takeaway of the day about Iran. Um, there were a handful of founding fathers, including Thomas Jefferson, including Ben Franklin, who actually had books about Cyrus the Great and how he ran the Persian Empire. And there are many laws that the founding fathers adopted from the old Persian laws when they were creating the laws of our country.
Wow.
And then on top of that, on the other side of the coin, because Iran was an area that the British repeatedly tried to colonize, but were never successful. Iran is one of the only parts of the world that was actually never colonized. Other nations sort of like took our resources and like sort of forced their way into business dealings by taking advantage of the leaders, but it was never fully colonized. But Iranians have a very bad taste in their mouth of just the way the British Empire treated them, especially in the 1800s and early 1900s. And they always looked at the US as like, oh my God, they did it. They broke free of the tyrannical grasp of the British Empire. So the first post office, okay, the first post office in America had a symbol from the Iranian, like from the old Persian Empire. And then the Persian Empire was like adopting all these things that the new country, the United States of America, was doing. And for like 100 years was sending delegations there being like, can we please become best friends? Can we please become best friends? Can we please become best friends? Yeah.
Iran was like, no.
No. Iran was sending it, but then like they started to broach conversations, and then the Civil War happened. So then it kind of got like put in the back burner. So it's just it's always had a tougher relationship, but it is what it is. I would love to go back to that country, hopefully very soon. What is one country that would surprise people that you played basketball in?
What is one country?
Yes.
I played in Finland. I don't know people who know me know that, but I loved it out there in Finland. That was one of my favorite countries to play in. The sauna lifestyle, it's awesome. It's a great country. There's like people go, oh, it's so cold out there, but the people are so happy. Everything is really nice. Scandinavia, it's just the thing that I've noticed a lot about, I've lived alone in a lot of different countries, in the world. And so what I've noticed is like a lot of these little countries, they have their own little quirks about them, their own culture. And you don't get that as much, being in the United States. Like, it's almost like, what's your culture? And it's like, well, I guess we do have like a California culture, like an American culture, but it's not as like defined as, say, a Finnish culture would be, or even probably like someone from Iran or a Persian culture would be. And so like even in Iran, I remember they're like, yeah,
Iran. I got you. Iran,
my bad. Even in Iran, they like the weekend is Wednesday and Thursday, right?
I thought it was Friday.
Thursday and Friday, maybe. Thursday and Friday.
Friday is their religious day.
Yeah, and then they start on Saturday is like our Monday,
Yeah, here's a really fun, quick Farsi lesson, and then I will turn it to you for the final word because we are getting to that time. But this has been too fun, so I'm gonna just tell you right now, Sean, you're coming back. Right. I will wake up at 5:30 in the morning to do this again with you, brother.
Late night or early morning.
Late night or early morning, it don't matter. So Friday is called Jomeh. Saturday is called Shambe. And then
Okay.
literally every single day after Shambe is Sunday. Yekshambe, 1. Doshambe, Monday. Seshambe, Tuesday. Chorshambe, Wednesday.
So just like
Panshambe, Thursday.
it's
It's
like Chambay,
literally,
it's like Chambay +1, Chambay +2.
literally. I when my parents tried to explain that to me, I was like, wait, why don't we do that in America? That's so much easier. Why do I need to remember all these
Well,
Wednesday, Thursday?
you know what other language does that is Portuguese.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Portuguese does
Okay.
that. They'll do like feira is day, and then like sexta-feira is like sixth day or whatever. Like that's how they do it. They have
Uh,
they have like Saturday and Sunday have its names, but then it's just like first day, second day. Like Monday is like first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day.
it's honestly so much simpler like that.
Yeah.
Simplicity is key, my friend. Big Sean Harris, I turn it to you for the final word before we say our farewells.
Final word. Final word is Bitcoin. Everybody, make sure that you buy some, you stack some, you mine some, you do whatever you can do. Get your hands on some freedom, because Bitcoin is cool, and Bitcoin helps me travel. It helps me live the way I want to live. It's really helped me live my dreams, and I think that's something that a lot of people miss out when they think about Bitcoin. Is you don't realize you can actually live your dreams, and Bitcoin can facilitate that. So get some.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it has been another episode of Late Night Bitcoin. Smash that subscribe button. Make sure you leave us a review on the podcast. We will be back tomorrow night with another great episode. Until then, adios.